Crush a bit, little bit, roll it up, take a hit, feeling lit, feeling like 2 a.m. summer night. I don't care, hand on the wheel, driving, I'm doing my thing, rolling the Midwest side outside, living my life, getting our dreams. People tell me slow my roll, I'm screaming out, fuck that, I'ma do just what I want, looking ahead, no turning back. Na 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 na. This song just came on recently over
Dude,
Thanksgiving. I
in
forgot where, but
December, that's a summer anthem, dog.
I forgot where
Summer
it came,
anthem.
but
That was like middle school 2010 vibe, man.
Kid Cudi, I remember it was like 2018. And if you remember the brand Coach, obviously, right? It's still like a thing. They
Yep,
sell the
yep.
women's bags.
Yeah.
Kid Cudi was on an ad for Coach, and he was wearing a crop top, like a shirt. And that was before
Uh-huh.
like there was a thing. And I was like, I just can't believe my man, one, is with Coach, and two, wearing a crop top. And then lo and behold, crop tops became a thing with dudes. But
Create your own
were,
style,
were,
man.
were you a Kid Cudi fan?
Yeah, I love Kid Cudi, man. Day and Night, that was always a
Day and
classic
night.
banger for me. Yeah, he's kind of got those like some songs are kind of moody and vibey, and then other ones, you kind of got that like summer jam classic vibe, like that one that we just did right there. Is he from New York? Is he a New Yorker?
Ah, man, I don't know. He is from from Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland,
That's
Ohio, man.
his real name is Scott Ramon Seguro Miscuddy. Miscuddy. So that's where he got Kid Cudi from.
Hmm. Oh,
But back in
you know why I actually liked a lot of his stuff back in the. All right, so based on the Wikipedia, right? It's like introspective lyrics, often covering personal struggles like loneliness, depression, and drug addiction. But it's funny because like in sixth grade to like eighth grade, I kind of went through this like mini emo phase. It was like almost fake emo where I just like would love to listen to these like sad, moody music. And then you ever have that thing where it's like raining outside and you're sitting in the back seat of the car your parents driving, and then I'll have my like iPhone headphones in, just listening to these moody songs, and just like head on the windowsill, just pretending I'm in like a music video.
no, that shit is like emo as fuck. I never got to that phase.
Gosh,
You were going
that
like
was yeah,
Hot
that was me in
Topic.
like sixth grade, eighth grade. I had the like long, like almost Justin Bieber swoop hair where you could like barely see my eyes and stuff.
Oh, brother.
I know.
Damn, sixth grade, eighth grade, I had the Paulie, was it Paulie D, the blowout?
Oh,
The
yeah, the
full blowout?
blowout.
Yeah. We had the blowout happening.
Yeah,
Dude,
but
it was sophomore year of high school. You know the clothing brand Bathing Ape?
yes, yeah, yeah.
So Kid Cudi did a collab with Bathing Ape, and my friend Mikey and I were camping out so we could buy it and resell it. So you could buy the shirt for $80 and resell it for 500. So we're camping out in the winter.
Sheesh.
Dude, we did not get a shirt. We were like two before like it sold out. Like, fuck, man. And the guy behind us, two guys behind us, he goes, if we're not gonna be able to buy it, it's time to start robbing people. And they took out knives. Damn. So we
Yeah,
just dipped.
no, and this is up in New York.
Yeah, this is like 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
My buddy Mikey and I were like, fuck it, let's just go to a diner and eat breakfast. But dude,
So
people were
we
just
ain't want
getting
none of this stuff. That's
they were
crazy. I
getting
didn't. I know
robbed.
you resold kind of those like streetwear clothing as well too. I know you resold a bunch of like Jordans and stuff, but um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've resold. I tried to resell bidets back in the day. I found like a bidet that was like really discounted. I tried to
A
resell
bidet?
it. Yeah,
Oh shit.
it's too ahead of the time. But now a couple of like Supreme stuff here and there, but
Yeah, I
not
was gonna say
like
yeah, Supreme. That was also another really big one as well too. But this is probably all before they had like those bots that you can get online, right? That'll help
oh,
save your spot where you can.
now it's gotten too crazy, dude. It's gotten way too crazy with the bots.
Yeah, because like now the
Like,
bots is just like you can't even really log on, and like people aren't really waiting in lines anymore in person. Everything's just online. It's like the bots will basically apply and put into your cart for you, and get it that way. The good old days of trying to fight over the apparel with some knives are gone.
yeah, the only thing you don't have to fight for anymore right, is making some fucking gains. And before we talk about the topic today, you don't have to fight through so much resistance when you've got the right coaching. Currently, right now, Tuesday, December 2nd. And man, I sent out a newsletter for Thanksgiving, and I was already like, damn, sometimes the topic's right itself. Everyone on our squad was just throwing wins into the chat, saying like, "Yo, I'm grateful for this, grateful for that." So we just gotta celebrate a couple people. I gotta give a quick shout out to my girl Nicole Garlett. I know we don't have the female go getters needs to we need to increase the female go getters. So hopefully this inspires y'all. But Nicole joined what, like less than 3 months ago, right?
Yeah, about
It's
3
been
months
less than,
ago. Yep.
yeah. Capped off November with 21.8K. This is the same revenue I made all of 2024 when I started a side hustle in March.
Sheesh.
So 1 month, recreated a side hustle. Joined GGC in August. I was doing 7K a month. I told Peter my goal was to hit 20K. 3 months later, I'm already thinking about the next goal. This win means a shit ton to me. October and November were rough, emotionally, mentally, and physically draining. Parents with young kids in a chat, I know you feel me because this cold and flu season has been absolutely brutal. But I put my head down, kept reviewing the playbook, said my mantras, and started a gratitude practice. The mindset shift and implementing the right systems have been a game changer. This win is proof of that. Time to start running ads, hitting 50K months, sending it to the moon in 2026. Let's fucking go. Dude.
Rocket ship, rocket ship, rocket ship.
Rocket ship. But Nicole is, it's actually super funny because we went to do the seminar in San Francisco. Nicole went to the seminar, but then the day before the seminar, we did a talk with my guys at Progressive Motion. And that's when I first met Angela and I saw Dylan again. And Nicole was like, "Oh man, you didn't have to sell me on GGC. Angela did." I was like, all right, let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, Nicole's awesome. She's always putting like her PIF wins in there. And I know we always call a bunch of the guys like PIF daddies and stuff in here, but she's a PIF mommy for sure.
It sounds slightly derogatory. I don't know. It sounds weird. It sounds kind of weird. We gotta. If you're listening to, if you're a female listening to this,
I'm gonna have my kids start calling me that so I can close more PIFs. I'm like, speak it into existence.
yeah, she's down with the PIF mommy. You gotta let it cook.
We need more PIF mommies in this group. So if you're a female PT entrepreneur trying to get after like Nicole, what are you doing? Jump on a call. Let's get you in this group.
Yeah, it ain't dudes only. Who else you got, Peter? Who you got on your end?
Let's see. I gotta give a shout out to you, my guy.
Oh.
Yeah, shout out moment, man. You and Christy crossing 7 figures with a month left to spare. Like, I know that's always a big milestone. So double comma mark, baby. And
double comma mark.
Like going into this year, right? Like, was not in a good place. Had some like staff turnover and whatnot. So it's like it's extra good to kind of be able to come up from that and kind of get to where you are now. So yeah, shout out you and Christy, bro.
Yeah, it's been a freaking journey. 2 full-time PTs left last year, and then obviously we started out with the new staff pretty much in January and just hit the ground running. And a lot of stuff has been things that we've been working on the back end that have came into fruition. But honestly, I think the main bottleneck, and we say this all the time, is the person itself. So like Christy and I have been obviously working with coaching, high performance therapy, all that shit, just to get rid of some of the limiting mindsets. And it's slay a dragon, get the reward. Slay another dragon, get the reward. So yeah, I'll be completely honest, did not expect that this year, but I'm happy to be here.
We here, baby. That's all that matters. Another big shout out, I gotta give it to my guy Aaron. I think Aaron joined our group maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. I think before he joined, his like highest PR revenue was like 33K a month or something like that. Comes in, hits a new PR at 43K, and he was pissed, or not pissed. I shouldn't say pissed. He was the least ecstatic person that I've ever seen to hit a PR. Right? He's like, man, I'm gonna crack a smile when I hit 50K. But I think it's just like when you come into a group like ours, right, and you have like all these other people that are like consistently hitting 50K, 70K, oftentimes you're just like the standard becomes like set so high. But for him, it's just always constantly, I always got to remind him, it's like, bro, like, don't forget to celebrate your wins, on the way to the top, man. It's just like, I think we recognized a lot of our like mistakes and failures along the way, but business is only fun if you make it fun, so don't be a little afraid to smile a little bit, Aaron.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Aaron's got a smile because he got a nice smile too. Aaron's got a nice smile. I still haven't gotten off the Rolex list yet. We are on the waiting list for one. And it just reminds me, shout out to my guy Manny. November was a wild ride filled with a lot of milestones. Biggest month yet, total revenue 30.4K. He just wanted to break 20K. And now that he literally the same month that he broke 20, he broke 30. And he DM'd me a picture of the watch he got. So
Which
Manny,
one is it?
he got a really nice there's different colorways. So he got a Seiko watch, and it's like a dive watch. So if it's like red and blue, you call them Pepsis, like Pepsi dial. If it's a green dial with a black face, you call them Starbucks. He's got a black face with a black dial and blue dial. So those are called Batmans.
Batman's.
So
Damn, I'm getting my my watch knowledge up.
yeah. So dude, shout outs to Manny. Been working on that one for a little bit, and I feel like when you are like stuck at a certain, because it's always like you hit a ceiling and then your floor increases, and all of these things are just like, it's cool to be able to hit a certain milestone and be like, oh, I'm a person that's capable of doing that, and you don't necessarily lose that. And I get maybe your skill and attributes have always been there, but the mindset, you just needed to see the physical proof that you're that guy or that gal. So I feel like we've seen it for a minute with Manny. It was a couple of months where he's like, yo, come on. Like, I'm so close. So it's just so cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, 100%. I think oftentimes too, just like being in an environment where you see other people winning, and then for you, it also kind of just opens up and reveals the fact like, hey, if it's possible with these other people, like, why can't it be possible for me? So I love like being in an environment where it's just like I'm constantly surrounded by other people who are doing way better than me, because I'm just like, shit, man. Like, all right, cool. If this guy can do $1 million a month, like, why can't I do $1 million a month?
Yeah. And I gotta give two more, but real quick, since we're talking about soccer players, Nazi finished a back-to-back month over 20K, which was his original goal was getting 10, but he was chasing 20 for a minute. Now he got 24.6. He's got another 5 evals already down for the first week of December. Got the ads finally set up, and he said something great. It's just like learning how to enjoy the actual entrepreneurship more, like just the journey more, has made it more sustainable. Because like he's from an athletics background, played soccer in Northwestern, UCLA, and he's like, dude, when I was having fun with soccer, I was the best player I could be. And now he's been able to freaking enjoy entrepreneurship. So I'm just excited to see where that takes him, because I feel like this guy is about to take off. Monster 2026 incoming.
100%. Yeah, I know. Man, I feel like we can't really talk about Mahib much anymore because we've already talked about him a couple times as well too. But Mahib he's funny, man. My guy's a clown, bro. But in a good way, I think he's just like constantly, like every single time he posts something, he's just like, dude, 100K months coming soon. 1.2 mil for 2026. But I think for him, he hit another pretty solid month. I think what he like 46K, 6K was on the table, but a bunch of things happened, right? And that's just kind of one of the things. I think he had like a couple issues getting an SDR to start with hiring and stuff, but that's just kind of like one of the levels of like continue to grow, right? Like as you kind of get to a certain level, you have different bottlenecks that occur with like hiring, and just understanding, these things will come up, but it's just part of the game. Right? It's just like when Nadi's playing soccer and stuff, like what fun is it if the defender or the team you're playing isn't good?
Yeah.
If there's no challenge.
That is, I was reading into flow state this past break, and it was like, you need to do something to enter flow state, you need to actually do something that's slightly outside your comfort zone, but it's actually accomplishable, right? If you do something that's way too difficult, you can't enter flow state. If you do something that's too easy, you're not going to enter flow state. So it's just something slightly outside your possibilities. Shout out, last Piff Mommy. is, we out here talking. We got to give respect to the females. Kendo, first month of treating, 9,535. Every eval has closed, bought a PIF, which Peter said in the comments, go raise your prices if
Yeah.
you're piffing. But Kendo is just a dope person. Like, I got to meet her at one of the seminars like a year or two ago. Just a really great clinician out in the Bay. And I feel like people in the Bay, man, there's something in the water over there because everyone in the Bay is killing it.
Man, one thing that I never even thought about until now, that's related with kind of all the piffs that Kendall is getting. As business owners, right? Like, you guys should be acting like the clients that you want to be getting. So I don't think any of you guys knew this, really, except for like me and maybe like Andy. But when Kendall came in, she piffed the entire program. No questions asked or anything like that. Right? She piffed the entire program for coaching for the whole year. And then now, like, she's been in business for what, like a month or so, right? First month of treating everything, and like every single client that she's gotten has been piff, piff, piff. And so for you guys, right? Like, if you're jumping on calls and you're like, oh, like, I got to think about it. Guarantee you, the next week you're probably going to get a shit ton of "let me think about it" with all the evals that you're getting in. All right, you pull the "hey, like, let me go talk to my wife," crap. Like, you're probably going to get a bunch of that. So for me, I always try and act like the clients that I want to get. So without a doubt, like, any single time I get on a call, I already know, like, hey, I'm going to buy. Just like, let me know where can I put down my car. So
Yeah,
that's just
that's
a
how
little
Peter enters the
perspective,
sales chat. It's like, just tell me how much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Peter's the easiest guy to close on.
Dude, I'm
if
the
you,
best client that you guys will ever have. Yeah.
yeah. No, but I 100% agree because I was even shocked when that happened. Just because, like,
She didn't even start business yet.
yeah, so it's like she had some things that she had to sort out prior to getting going, but she's been on every single, like almost every call, just learning, absorbing, chipping away at things, slowly putting stuff together. So, well deserved first month, and you already know that is she's already got stuff set up in December. So, Piff mommies are doing their thing. Um, Man, what's not doing their thing? People that are going to ongoing care. And I think that's something that a lot of people have been struggling with. It's not something that I think everyone is well equipped to do. And I think today we'll break down a couple of checklists or things to consider. But Peter, when you're going to ongoing care, when someone finishes that initial package, or maybe they start with you with physical therapy, they finish physical therapy, what happens next? Like, what is your frame of thought with that?
Yeah. What else can I sell them? Right. What else can I help them out with? Right. Maybe we can reframe it like that. Yeah, I think, like, for us as PTs in cash practice settings, like, we just have always like a very unique skill set where it's almost like a blend of like personal training and physical therapy. So there's always like some sort of performance and or maintenance stuff that we can help people out with. And for like PTs, I think it's just like oftentimes a really big like mindset fuck where they're just thinking like, hey, I'm trying to get these people out the door as fast as possible, trying to fix them. Right. But oftentimes you just want to understand, like, membership or back end offers are really basically meant to help solve the secondary problem that arises once we fix their primary problem. All right, so our main high ticket offer solves whatever main problem that they're coming in with, usually some sort of pain related with an activity that they enjoy. And then the back end offer solves like a performance problem, right? So maybe it's like, hey, the first goal, they just want to be able to run without pain. Awesome, we help them fix that with that. And maybe the next goal that arises once they are able to run again is, cool, maybe I want to hit a Boston qualifier. Awesome, like, what can we do from like a performance standpoint that helps get them there? But dude, I'll tell you what, man, like, a lot of things that I've realized with like how well RPTs like pitch membership and convert well into membership, it's like you have that like performance and result aspect of things as to why people will convert onto back end offers. But also, too, another really big thing that I think a lot of times people overlook is really just like the actual rapport and relationship that they build with these clients. I think, like, for all the PTs that I've kind of had over at Motion RX, like, we've had PTs where, again, like, they have close to around like an 80% conversion rate onto back end offers. And then we have same thing like other PTs that struggle tremendously with like 20%, 30%, like whatever we teach them and help them out with. They struggle tremendously. And so I think like building rapport is just like something that's like so big. It's just like something you can't really almost like teach. And so one of the things that we like really kind of like look for now on like the hiring side of things, just because we always like to look at like the whole life cycle, right? It's like cool, like can we hire off of like overall personality? If we can have somebody who comes in with a really good personality, and we know for sure, like we can get them evals, right? We have ads, we have leads that'll come in, we'll fill up their schedule like that. But if they can't keep people on their schedule on the back end, it's so hard, man, to like continue to like bring someone else on, because you just have the empty hole that people keep falling out of at the bottom of the bucket at the end of every single month.
Yeah, I gotta share a story because it was hilarious. Christy offloaded a handful of her online patients once we onboarded a PT that did virtual. And guys, like I'm telling you, personality, being there for people, like just being super present, enjoying the session, like what Peter's saying, makes a huge difference. Christy has like an 80% cry rate when she offloads people. And this isn't just like, oh, someone that she's been seeing for pain. Christy's had patients now for like 2, 3, 4 years that she's been working with. And it's crazy, like the connections that you'll make with someone over time. Like I sent a couple of messages to patients that I still see. I still see like patients that are just like super easy to kick it with. It's like more enjoyable for me.
100%. Yeah.
One of my patients, absolute savage, is like company does like 10 million per year revenue, and like he's just like a bro, and we just fucking rip it the whole session. But like those type of people, it's just like when you build that relationship, you become a part of their life. Like you have to remember, when someone's seeing you for the next like 3 to 6 months, they're seeing you more than they see their friends and their family members. So like if you have a really great time and you hang out, honestly, I completely agree. Like that's what converts the best, just making sure that the session is enjoyable.
Yeah. And another thing too that we've tweaked over the years is just like how frequently people are coming in for their like back end offer with membership. And even same thing with like our front end. We used to kind of like we'll space out our front end packages and stuff, but now everybody's like weekly. And then now we transition people onto the back end offer as usually weekly as well too. We always recommend weekly, and we like we never even had bi-weekly or sorry 2 times a week. But we recently, like earlier this month, we had somebody ask about, hey, like, do you guys have a 2 time per week option? I was like, shit, all right, man, like, I gotta put that on the fish now. Now that someone's actually asking about it, But I think having the higher frequency, because what we used to do, like, I think this is something that a lot of like traditional older model cash PTs will do, is just like, oh, go on to the once a month maintenance model. But the thing is, like, once a month, it's like, dude, it's like you don't have enough accountability, you don't have enough touch points to get them in appropriately to actually get them to continue to want to stick on. And so when we were doing once a month, we just saw people kind of like drop off after maybe like 6 or 8 months or so. Whereas like people coming in like weekly and or maybe like every other week are sticking around much, much longer, because it's exactly kind of what you said earlier. It basically just becomes a part of their like normal, work week or, livelihood, really.
Yeah. One thing to always consider, you once you start to build out your CRM and you got these dope drip sequences in, they only work if people are still subscribed. So if you're leaving the CRM to be the thing that is allowing you to convert people to ongoing care, just remember that people will unsubscribe. So it's like you still have to bring it up right then and there. And that's something we troubleshooted this year, is just trying to have 1 or 2 touch points prior to the second to last session. So what do those touch points look like? If someone is like halfway through their package and they've said something to you like, hey, Peter, like, oh my gosh, I ran pain free again. This is so amazing. Yeah, I might just say something along the lines like, hey, Peter, I'm so freaking pumped that you're back to pain free running. I know when we initially talked, that was kind of the goal. But I'm just letting you know that like our team works with a bunch of people after they've rehabbed their injuries to higher performance stuff. And it's like a monthly programming, or we do sessions where we see people like twice a month. And it's really awesome. And I want you to start to think about, what your other goals are. And someone goes like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. You can also bring it up again. It's like, hey, did you get a chance to think about it? you don't necessarily, you're not trying to sell at those points in time. You're just throwing, like, you're just nudging someone along. And you can even add phrases to make it less salesy. It's like, hey, you don't have to commit to anything right now, but if you're interested in something like that, we can talk about it in the next session, or, as we're resting during today's session. And they'll say, like, yeah, I'm interested. It's like, listen, you don't have to commit to anything right now. I'm not asking you to. I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that. So it's sales, when you think about it like that, it's just a guidance perspective, right? Because if you wait until the last session and you're like, hey, do you want to continue to see us? Think like, oh, they're just trying to make more money. But if you do it in sessions 4, sessions 8, kind of remind them at session 9 and then close on session 10, it's like you're giving them more time.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's funny. We used to have it as part of our SOP for them to like talk about it 2 times before the second to last one or the very last one we're kind of pitching. We had a new PT come on probably about like 3 months ago, Kaylee, and like as our clinic director was onboarding, he was like, all right, cool, you gotta talk to them at least like 2 or 3 times after. And then as she started like DCing people, we started to see like her close rate on to back and membership is probably close to 90%. So literally yesterday, we were asking her at our like weekly meetings, like, hey, like, what are you doing to like get these people to like close so well? A, she has a really great personality, super bubbly, people love her. But B, the other thing she said is just like, yeah, so I basically like talked to them pretty much since like every single session since like this like the middle point. So she's talking to them basically at least 4 to 5 times. Our like usually our lowest programs about 10 weeks. So meaning she has 5 touch points where she's bringing it up to them over and over again. She's like, yeah, I pretty much just like talk to them about it until they say yes. I'm like, yo, that's freaking genius. Like, just increase the volume of times that we're asking them. And even the better thing is that like before the very last one, we're already billing the membership. So usually by the second to last visit, we already have like an answer on whether or not they're going to do it. So she basically just said, all right, cool. Like, you want to just go ahead and use that card on file? I'll go ahead and set up your billing date for today. And like, so we're closing people onto membership before they even finish out their, plan of care. And so it's such like a nice seamless transition, because then from there, we can go ahead and book them out for even more. We see visits are being filled on the schedule and everything. So yeah, like if anything, just ask more.
That's wild, because I would have been like, yeah, that's way too many touch points. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that's I think for a lot of people, like as PTs, we get in our own heads about it, where it's just like, hey man, am I gonna like come off? But I think like until we actually hear it from the consumer, because they have a very different like perspective than we do, right? But I think like, yeah, until you maybe get some live data points on like, hey, maybe we're getting out of like the 10 people we're doing this with, we have like 8 out of those 10 people that are saying, yo, dude, like you're way too pushy. But like I think out of like the 12 to 15 people she's DC'd, like shit, like I don't know, like 90% of those people have all said yes. So something's got to be working. Yeah.
Let's go. And we can't call it beginner's luck when lightning keeps striking.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, if anything, like talk about it more for sure.
One thing to like, you guys listening to this might feel like, how do we even like start to initiate this conversation? And it could just simply be a question, right? Like, hey, like you're making like a ton of progress during rehab, and I would hate for you to like just stop all completely or just follow the same program, because a lot of these programs aren't going to work after 4 to 6 weeks, right? You got to keep interchanging these things. What is your plan? Like, just curious, like, what's your plan after physical therapy? This is good if you, again, do it in the earlier stages versus doing it on the last day, because people aren't really thinking about it much. And there's going to be people that will say straight up on like the 5th visit, it's like, I don't really have a plan, right? And this is where you get to take some more ownership and leadership in directing like this sales process of like, hey, would you be open to hearing some of the things that we do with our patients, right? That are trying to stay active, trying to stay healthy, trying to reduce risk of injury. And this is where you can actually have a conversation, because you're just asking for permission. You're not imposing anything. But I think that is a great question to kind of start this kind of process. But again, start the process early before like doing it the last minute.
Yeah. What Andy's referring to is what we refer to as like the level up meeting. So if you guys want that, just DM us level up and we'll go ahead and get you that free resource in terms of like understanding how to actually set up this conversion process and actually how to go about having this conversation. But Yeah, really in terms of like goal setting, right? Like if people, you're going to get people that are like super motivated that come in with specific goals that they want to continue keeping setting for themselves, right? I know that's somebody like myself. Once I hit a goal, I'm going to go ahead and self set another goal for myself. Other times, if people aren't setting goals for themselves, like it is up to you as a physical therapist to like help them figure out, okay, what is the other thing that they can, set out to accomplish? How can we help them become a 2.0 version of themselves? Oftentimes, like when you have these conversations with people will be like, oh wow, like you're right. I've never actually even thought about doing that. I never even thought that was possible. And then you'd be like, oh yeah, I was, Sally over there, like she was just like you the other, like a couple months ago, and now she's able to do a pull up. And so a lot of times, what we like to do is like if people are coming in with like lower body things, we always like to kind of check off like upper body competencies as well too. I know being able to do like a full push up or being able to do a pull up for ladies is always like a big massive goal. And so getting just casually bringing that up, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, like I would love to do that, I just never thought it was possible after having my babies or kids or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, like, do you want to do it? Like if so, like here's how we can do it, right? So oftentimes you when we kind of set up these goals for people, it's either like to work towards an active goal, so it's performance driven, and or if like for whatever reason you try and goal set for them, they're just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm kind of just want, I'm very happy with where I'm at, and I don't want to do anything else. Then the other way we position membership is for in terms of like overall maintenance, maintaining how we are currently feeling. So it's like, awesome, great. You've been, feeling so good over these last 2, 3 months working with us. How would you like to continue feeling like this? And I think that's like, I often times will compare it to something like weight loss, right? Where it's like with weight loss and like working out, once you stop working out, your gains go away very fast. And so same thing with like making sure your body continues to feel its best. There has to be some sort of ongoing, adjustments, maintenance, whatever, something that you have to continue fine tuning for your body in order to make sure it continues, performing at its best. And so that's really how we position it. So either towards maintaining how we currently feel, and or if we want to level up and reach towards another higher performance, cool. How do we actually set up stepping stones to get there? So yeah, that's really kind of like how you should be setting up this level up meeting, position it towards one of these two goals, and then from there, what does that look like from a game plan standpoint that you can walk them through to help them get there?
Yeah, there's like think about who your target demographic is and what they actually want to get out of working with you, right? And you have to have this like actual belief in like what you do. So like one of the things that we come up with, it's like most people are, well, when we first started, it was like most people are running our programs forever. Like they weren't like doing new programs like every 4 to 6 weeks. They were literally doing our program for like the past year, and they'll come back in and do a reactivation. And I was just like, whoa, like you shouldn't be doing that, right? So like you need to actually believe in the product. So what does that mean? It's like periodization. We all know that to be true. It's like you can't run the same exact program, especially if you have goals. If you're using this strength program for running and you're getting close to a marathon, it's like you probably don't need to strength train that much because it's taking away from the actual running. So I think when you zoom back out, even before we talk about all of these things, you have to like understand what the person's problem is and truly believe that you have a good solution for them, right? Like if you're someone that doesn't really understand how to program or strength train or have any of these confidence, go buy a course, go learn from a strength coach yourself, right? And I think that will give you the confidence to do something ongoing. But even if you don't have that route, let's say you're working with someone that's like a high rocks athlete. It's like, hey, you're putting your body through hell, right? Like you're putting your body through hell. And I don't think it makes sense for you to pretend that you don't need any mobility or like recovery. And you could position like this, like, hey, how's your body been feeling with all this like um, mobility and recovery work that you've been doing? It's been feeling great. It's like, oh, perfect. Would you like how do you think it's going to progress if you stop doing these things? Oh, it'd be terrible. Would you like a solution for adding this as a routine near month to month? So even if you're not even confident from a strength side, it's like there's plenty of people that do this from a mobility perspective, from a soft tissue perspective, from a dry needling perspective, because we've had that problem before too, where people will work with people that are very active. They already have a strength coach or a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going that route, you can't position yourself as someone that's going to be their strength coach or personal trainer because they already got that. So you got to look at it from the lens of mobility, recovery, longevity.
Yeah. We've actually changed our like targeting from a ideal avatar standpoint. Like we used to be very big on like heavy CrossFit or people who are already like super active, but now what we realize is like, hey, the majority of people like sticking on for like multiple years at a very high frequency are typically people who don't have any kind of fitness background at all, and they're like just getting into it. Because now you can kind of step into the role of like, hey, coach, trainer, and really kind of be like they're all in one like guidance to overall health and wellness. And so, yeah, people that we usually try and target now are kind of just like people that maybe were active before in like college and or high school, but like now they haven't been because of for like a multiple, couple of years now, because of some sort of pain in there, wanting to get back into kind of a younger glimpse of themselves. And so we can kind of like position that like dream and help them really visualize and see that, then they'll stick with you forever.
Oh man, we miss anything on this guy?
Membership, I would say, yeah. Overall average close rates, with you as the owner, you should be closing around 50% or higher. You typically, majority of business owners, usually have the most amount of charisma. Usually are able to build up pretty good rapport. You can sell with the most amount of conviction. So you should be around 50% or more on back end membership conversions. As you slowly start to grow a team, it'll probably drop a little bit closer to like 40%. So if you can aim for around 40% close rate overall as a team, that'll be pretty solid. Just because again, like you have multiple other people that are going to be selling, and you just have to kind of know like, hey, people won't be able to close as well as you, which is totally fine, right? But then it just kind of comes down to your ability to train these other people to be able to replicate maybe like 80% of your results and everything. But
In
yeah,
Peter's shoes, he found someone that's better than him.
shit, yeah. I mean, that's
So,
dream come true, man.
yeah.
Seriously.
Pricing standpoint, lots of different schools of thought, but typically you want someone to feel like they're getting a deal. So look at like what your package prices are. Some of you guys listening to this actually need to increase your prices, so maybe don't consider it from that lens. But I would go slightly like whatever your session rate is. So like currently we're 300 and 250. The rates drop down to 225 without having the full commitment of those sessions. So then that gets billed monthly. When we raise our rate from 350 to 275 for follow-ups, as long as they're on a package, that rate probably gets closer to 250. So it's looks like a deal for a lot of people because one, they're not paying a lot of things up front and they're being charged monthly, but it's a fraction typically of what your lower rate is, like a smaller fraction of it without the bigger commitment up front. And there are cases where we just re-up another package.
I would actually say we've been playing around with this a little bit over the last like probably 4 or 5 months. The discount doesn't actually have to be as large as you think. A lot of times people will often just move on just because you recommend it. So like I think ours is only maybe like $20 like cheaper than our like average follow. People will still like close onto it. And then also too with like discounting the overall frequency, you probably don't need to discount the frequency either. We used to think like, hey, people will push onto the higher frequency if we discount it more. But now we're seeing like, hey, people would just move on to whatever you tell them to move on to, even if it is like the same exact pricing. So that's just like I thought that was really interesting because I would have never expected that honestly.
Yeah. A lot the the re-up on package has been something where it's like we have a couple of PTs and like myself personally where it's like it just seems to be, oh, let's just re-up another package, let's just re-up another package opposed to moving someone to like a monthly billing cycle. So when it comes to those kind of things, I would say like I typically have like a good idea of like when I would position it as like, hey, you're coming on to the end of your package. Is the same card still okay for you? And then boom, that naturally happens. And I think when you know that you've developed a really good relationship with someone and they legitimately like have voice to you at some point during the plan of care that they just love coming, it's like it's a natural thing to just do that route as well. So that's also on the table from a continuity standpoint. It doesn't necessarily always have to be re-upping. I mean, doing a monthly kind of payment, but do you guys do re-upping just another package?
No, we don't. We typically push people on to just monthly recurring. It's just it comes down to personal preference. Personally, for me, just because a lot of expenses are basically recurring every 2 weeks or monthly. I just kind of like to try and build it up so it basically covers all overhead expenses. and then high ticket just comes from the newer POCs coming in. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong, especially with if you're just kind of re-upping packages. It basically just turns into reoccurring. So basically, like pay every like 2 or 3 months, that'll reoccur, versus like recurring every single month. And then two, obviously depending on the person that you have, trying to ask somebody to move on to like a $600 a month or $300 a month membership, a little bit of an easier ask, versus kind of like trying to ask them to drop like another 3K. But it could be potentially, again, just depending on person, region that you're in as well too.
Yeah, I would say region dependent. Like there in New York City, it's very common for people to have personal trainers, and they're re-upping. Like guys, when I'm telling you, like I know personal trainers that will re-up on 60 session packages, like just constantly like that. Like it is like it's just a common thing in New York City where people will re-up on a package opposed to paying like more of this like in monthly rates. Typically, like New Yorkers will call it like a retainer, and that sometimes does drive people like a little bit like this feels like another subscription bill, whereas like people like to just pay for sessions ahead of time. So if I know someone's come from like training at these boutique gyms and they've already spent on their wellness a ton, like I have patients that have these crazy 10 to 30K yearly memberships to longevity stuff. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
love that.
yeah, just it's out there. And Equinox has launched, Equinox launched that 40K a year thing, but like, yeah,
Love it.
there's a lot of people spending on health and wellness right now. So
Yeah, I think it's
don't be
only going to
afraid.
continue to get larger. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else on that one, Peter?
That's it. Go out there, sell some memberships. Go get some piffs.
And well, might be myths. Myths. Go get some myths.
Go get some myths.
Monthlies in full. All right, squad. Yo, we got one more review compared to the last episode. So I know there's more than 43 listeners out there. Y'all have been listening and you haven't been leaving a review. And, Thanksgiving just passed. And I'm just saying, if you're grateful for the podcast, drop a review. We've got our event coming up in March. And if you want in, granted, one, you get to hang out with all the dope people in our group, but you'll also be down for some brain gains, everything from marketing, sales, business, mindset, etc. And we'll be having some fun activities. A couple of people requested mechanical horses. Check the show notes. Sign up for the live event wait list. We got 4 free resources: 100 proven ways to generate leads, content marketing playbook, launch your practice webinar, newsletter frameworks. And if you're just like, hell yes, love you guys, and I want to start working with you because these wins are inspiring me, you can hit schedule a strategy call. All of these things are in every single episode. So just check out the show notes, whether it's on Spotify or Apple, we got you covered. All right, squad. Peace.